Hello, and how's everyone doing today? Welcome to the channel. If you're new, if you're a returning viewer, I'm glad to have you back, and welcome to another episode of Justin Talks Games. I want to talk about Silent Hill 2 Remake, for a second time. I think I did 2 or 3 videos. I can't remember. I know I did one not too long ago, which got a lot of traffic, actually, to be honest. I had a few people who were agreeing with me, which is great. I had a few people who disagreed with me. That's okay too. It is what it is. I'm just glad that the views were pretty high on that video, and it just seemed that I had some engagement, and ultimately, that's what's important. Everybody giving their opinions and stuff like that. So I thought I'd make another video, but this one is going to be geared more toward the comparisons to like Resident Evil and Silent Hill that are still going on, and how quiet the fan base has gotten ever since the 2 videos have dropped. The gameplay trailer. Yes, it's a 20-minute video of gameplay, but I still call it a trailer due to trying to get the player to buy the game and stuff, showing different areas and cutting certain areas out and stuff. And we also had the new story trailer as well, which featured Eddie. I think he looks really, really, really good. But before we get into those things, make sure to grab your drinks, grab your snacks, and let's get into this. So let's talk about Resident Evils and the Silent Hill comparison first. Some of you may not know, and maybe some of you forgot, and that's okay. Resident Evil was the first one to come out of the 2. It came out in 1996. Silent Hill 1, came out in 99. So by that time, Resident Evil already had Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 under their belt. And later that same year, the year that Silent Hill comes out, Resident Evil 3 would be coming out. So in reality, Silent Hill's been copying Resident Evil since the very beginning. And I'm not saying that in like a patronizing way or a negative way at all. It doesn't bother me, and it's what works for both franchises. I mean, Silent Hill has the tank controls like Resident Evil 1 and 2 do. Excuse me. The camera is more dynamic in Silent Hill, of course. But if I remember correctly, some places in Silent Hill 1, some areas do have the static camera, I think. It's been a little bit. I played it again earlier this year. But I honestly can't fully remember. I know you can put the camera directly behind Harry and stuff, but I think there are some areas where, it's static, where you can't move the camera. In terms of, combat and stuff, obviously that's a little bit different, but essentially it's kind of the same thing. It's not exactly the same thing, but they took Resident Evil's formula and they tweaked it and, kind of made it their own thing. But essentially, bare bones, it's kind of the same. And when people talk about James being Leon, oh, he's Leon from Resident Evil 4, I kind of laugh at that. I laugh at that a little bit. Not making fun of anybody, but it's just funny when I see that. Because Silent Hill 2 released in 2001, and Resident Evil 4 came out in 2005, right? So there's a couple of years in between the two of them. That and Leon had the same haircut in Resident Evil 2 that he does have in Resident Evil 4. So in reality, Konami would be copying Resident Evil 2, not Resident Evil 4. Just clearing that up. And again, there's nothing wrong with that because it was the style for guys at the time. to have that haircut. And when you move forward to the remakes, I've seen people say, "Oh, they're going the same route Capcom is. They're copying Resident Evil now." And I guess think it's kind of funny, especially when I see, they're copying Resident Evil now, when in reality, like I said earlier in this video, they've been kind of piggybacking off of each other since the very beginning. Um, Capcom decided to go the over-the-shoulder route with Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5, and then obviously Resident Evil 6, they went a little overboard with it, but, they did. I can't remember the camera styles, honestly, of Homecoming and Downpour and all that. I think The Room, which is Silent Hill 4, I think it also had the static cameras, like Resident Evil as well, with the exception of the actual apartment, because I know the actual apartment was first person. But I think when you're running around with Henry, I'm pretty sure that's a static camera, but I could be wrong. It's been a while. But anyways, going back to the remakes and stuff, I excuse me about that. It only makes sense. I mean, because look at Resident Evil 2. It's over the shoulder. It's you can. I think that's the first Resident Evil game where you could move and shoot at the same time. I think. No, sorry, that was Revelations 1. Yeah, that was Revelations 1. Sorry, but anyways, you can move and shoot, and you can turn the camera around and look at the character. It was very, very free in that sense. So it only makes sense that, again, with Silent Hill following in Resident Evil's footsteps, it only makes sense for them to take that next step as well and go in that direction. I mean, look at how successful Resident Evil is with their new cameras, their new graphics, this and that. So Silent Hill essentially piggybacking off of Resident Evil. Again, I'm not saying this in a disrespectful, hateful way, because again, like I said, I love both franchises, and I I think they're both amazing. But I also recognize that they bounce off each other, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's the next logical step for Konami to do that. I think the remake looks good. I don't know. I just think that it makes sense. Like I said, I think it makes sense for them to move in that direction. Like I said, they've always bounced off each other. Moving on to the community stuff, like I was saying, before before the last two videos that came out, there's a lot of people doing memes and being hateful and all that, and some valid concerns. Hey, I don't really know if this is gonna work out. Blooper hasn't made the best games and stuff. Again, I haven't played Blooper's games, so I can't say yes or no. So you had some valid complaints. Apparently, Blooper has never had combat in their games. So, the complaints, the concerns I've seen about Blooper doing combat and stuff, I understand that. But ever since those last two videos dropped, I've noticed that the community has gotten a lot more quiet in terms of like trolling and hating and all that, and even just the general concerns that people had. I've noticed a big turnaround, a big turnaround, a lot more positive than negative now, and it's really nice to see. I'm glad to see that, because I want this game to succeed just like the next person does. I'm interested to see what Silent Hill F has to bring to us, because I think we've only had the one reveal trailer, and that was what, a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now. I don't remember. It's been a long time. But I think if this succeeds, Silent Hill 2 Remake succeeds, it could open doors to more remakes, or even future installments even. It doesn't have to be just remakes, it could be future installments as well. I just want this to do very well. But I don't want this video to go on too long. I just wanted to point out the comparisons thing. Again, like I said, they've always bounced off each other, always, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just find it silly when I see the negative parts about it. And the overall, like I said, the overall positivity of the community now, and I'm glad to see that. So yeah, leave a comment below if you agree with me, disagree with me. If you just want to say something, go ahead, leave a comment, subscribe, tell your friends about me, all that fun kind of stuff. And, I will see you guys in my next video.